Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're zeroing in on a technology that has, quite frankly, completely rewired the modern data center. We are going to demystify the architecture behind VMware Virtual SAN, or as you probably know it, vSAN. Now, if you've ever found yourself totally bogged down by the sheer, maddening complexity of traditional storage arrays, well, this one is absolutely for you. We're going to peel back the layers of software-defined storage, figure out how it handles data at massive scale, and explore the real engineering marvels that make the whole thing tick. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with this storage paradigm shift, then look inside the hypervisor and discuss moving to objects instead of LUNs. After that, we'll hit policy-driven resilience, the express storage architecture, and wrap up with flexible deployment topologies. All right, part one, the storage paradigm shift. Let's rethink the data center. Before we can really appreciate the microarchitecture of vSAN, we've got to understand the massive macro shift that even made it necessary in the first place. For decades, right? Storage was this distinct, totally isolated silo in the IT environment. Traditional storage area networks, or SANs, they're heavily hardware-defined. They rely on these expensive, dedicated fabrics like Fibre Channel, completely separating compute from storage. But vSAN? It's software-defined. It takes the local disks that are already sitting inside your hypervisor hosts and just aggregates them over standard Ethernet into a single shared data store. It's a total game changer. And the day-to-day impact of this shift is huge. Architecturally, we're moving away from highly specialized hardware arrays to just using standard commodity servers. And instead of those painful, massive forklift upgrades when you finally run out of space, vSAN just scales linearly. You need more space? You just add another host. Boom, done. Cost-wise, traditional SANs mean huge upfront capital expenditures. vSAN leverages the disks you probably already have or ones you can buy super cheaply. Plus, management shifts from needing highly specialized storage admins to just managing everything seamlessly right inside VMware vSphere. I actually love this quote from VMware fellow Christos Karamanoli's because it perfectly hits the nail on the head regarding why this matters. He says, "The technology evolution allows for the democratization of enterprise storage and networking. Simply put, commodity x86 servers are incredibly computationally dense now. They have the raw horsepower to handle heavy enterprise storage workloads without breaking a sweat. It completely frees us from those restrictive, proprietary hardware constraints of the past." Moving on to part two, inside the hypervisor, looking at native integration. Look, where a storage solution physically lives absolutely dictates its performance. The magic of vSAN is where the integration happens. It's baked right inside the ESXi hypervisor. Unlike other infrastructure solutions out there that have to rely on clunky, resource-heavy virtual storage appliances just to route data around, vSAN is natively integrated. It processes I/O at the low-level kernel space of the hypervisor itself. And because it's sitting right there in the hypervisor kernel, vSAN gains unmatched I/O efficiency and almost zero context switching. But honestly, one of the most powerful features here is its purpose-built adaptive throttling scheduler. Sitting where it does, it can easily distinguish between front-end virtual machine traffic and back-end resynchronization traffic. So during times of network contention, which, let's face it, happens to all of us, the scheduler intelligently throttles those back-end tasks. This makes absolutely sure your primary VM workloads maintain top-tier performance no matter what. All right, part three. Objects, not LUNs. An entirely new way to store data. Traditional arrays rely heavily on LUNs and clustered file systems. Well, vSAN basically throws that entirely out the window in favor of a distributed object store. Let's walk through how a virtual machine disk actually gets stored here. First, your standard VMDK is established, but step two, instead of shoving this into a monolithic file system, vSAN treats the VMDK as a completely autonomous object. Step three, that object gets sliced up into discrete component shards based on whatever resilience requirements you set. And finally, step four, those shards are intelligently distributed across various disk groups on different hosts throughout your cluster. Now, the big takeaway from this object-based architecture is the concept of minimal failure domains. Think about a traditional RAID array. If a massive drive dies, you usually have to read the entire volume just to rebuild the parity, right? It takes forever, and it just drags down cluster performance. But in vSAN, a discrete drive failure only affects the specific data shards that lived on that exact drive. vSAN simply self-heals those specific objects across the rest of the cluster, which dramatically reduces rebuild times. It's incredibly efficient. Let's dive into part four, policy-driven resilience, and what we call outcome-oriented administration. Since vSAN is software-defined and entirely object-based, we obviously need an intelligent way to govern how those objects are actually protected. Enter Storage Policy-Based Management, or SPBM. So instead of setting these rigid, cluster-wide LUN properties, you're prescribing exact outcomes on a per-VM basis. You dictate things like the number of failures to tolerate, the FTT. You choose the failure tolerance method. Do you want simple RAID 1 mirroring, or maybe space-efficient RAID 5 or 6? You can adjust the number of disk stripes, or even set specific object space reservations. The beauty is, you just set the policy, apply it to a VM, and vSAN handles the rest, figuring out exactly how to physically place the data to make it happen. And guys, this is where SPBM becomes an absolute operational superpower. You can change these storage policies totally on the fly. Imagine a standard application suddenly becomes mission critical, right? And you need to bump up its failure tolerance from one host failure to 2. You literally just change the policy in a drop-down menu. No migrating the VM to a new data store, no downtime. vSAN simply redistributes those object shards in the background while the VM just keeps on running. It's basically magic. Bringing us to part 5, Express Storage Architecture, or ESA. This is the next generation. So, as blazing fast NVMe storage and 100 gigabit networks became the new standard, VMware went in and completely overhauled the vSAN data path to actually unleash all this new hardware. At the heart of this express storage architecture is the Log Structured File System, or LFS. And hey, quick fun fact for you. Mendel Rosenblum, one of VMware's original founders, actually proposed and implemented the very first log structured file system way back in the early 1990s. Kind of cool, right? Well, vSAN ESA takes that foundational concept and applies a discrete LFS to every single object. This lets it ingest incoming data at absolute lightning speed, and it drastically minimizes I/O amplification, meaning it's not wasting resources writing the same data multiple times. Okay, so what does this massive architectural upgrade actually win us? First off, it enables incredibly scalable metadata-based snapshots. Second, it introduces auto-RAID, which is amazing because it automatically figures out the absolute optimal resilience level based purely on the current size of your cluster. Third, it builds adaptive throttling deep into every single level of the storage stock. And finally, ESA even introduces a technology preview for native S3-compatible object storage right there inside your cluster. But honestly, the true power of ESA really comes down to one mind-blowing metric: 100x. Thanks to that new log-structured file system we talked about, snapshot deletions and consolidations in vSAN ESA are up to 100 times faster than the traditional architecture. Let that sink in. 100 times. That means zero VM stunning and absolutely no performance lag when your backup jobs kick off. Finally, part 6, flexible deployment topologies. Let's look at how you actually deploy this. Let's bring this deep dive back to practical reality for a second and look at how this scales physically across the data center. vSAN offers 2 really distinct models. First, you've got the classic aggregated HCI cluster, where your compute and storage are sharing the exact same hosts. But second, there's disaggregated storage, now branded as vSAN Max. And this is fascinating. It allows you to build a centralized, shared storage cluster that provides resources to external compute clusters. So if you just need, say, a few more petabytes of storage, you can scale it independently. You aren't forced to buy expensive compute licenses that you don't even need. And because the whole shebang is entirely software-defined, vSAN can literally adapt to any environment. You can deploy it as a stretched cluster across 2 active cities for absolute site resilience, or you can shrink it all the way down to a tiny 2-node cluster for a remote edge branch office. Need a highly secure target clean room for cyber recovery? It can do that. Want to spin up persistent storage volumes natively for your Kubernetes containers? It can do that too. It just bends to the exact shape of your business. So, with enterprise-grade, lightning-fast storage now living seamlessly inside your hypervisor, what legacy hardware is your data center ready to finally leave behind? It's time to take a hard look at your current infrastructure, evaluate the software-defined architecture we've explored today, and really think about how you can unlock a leaner, faster future. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.